So they'll be calling you a radical. This is some really heartbreaking news, and this should be a wake-up call to all you Silicon Slopes ITers that have flocked to freaking Utah, especially to Provo. Well, you've ignored the environment. You know, it's all economy, economy, economy. One of the so-called unicorns, and so that's a term here. Unicorn is these young ITers that have these young IT startup companies that are private that are worth over $1 billion. So Brandon DeWitt is dead of cancer. He fought cancer the same time I did. So I have a friend from the university, because I used to be a professor, you know, in the day, that is down there in Silicon Slopes, you know, this used to be Novell Word Perfect land, I Omega, until Bill Gates stole it and wants to put a nuclear reactor there. And so, as you know, this is not commentary, this is heartbreaking news. He had all the resources and all the money in the world. And you bailed him out in Illinois. That's where he grew up. I was just reading this nice article that was written by KSL. I almost started to cry. He grew up in foster care for the most part. He said he had hundreds of siblings. Dynamic young man. Which the dynamics of it help with cancer, but of course he had all the money in the world, so he was able to seek out clinical trials. Blah, blah. It reminds me a lot of the death of the great, incredible, the greatest cancer pioneer in history, who was in the room next to me, Marshall Jensen. This should be a wake-up call, including to the owner of the Jazz, who says he's going to rebrand Utah. Well, they tried that already to the Vivid. Vivid's a Ponzi scheme. Before the Vivid, it was the Energy Solutions. I used to shit with Bobby Sloan. Bobby Sloan died tragically young of cancer from Illinois. You know, they bail out the nuclear reactors in Illinois. Unbelievable. People need to wake up at BYU. You know, you got that great basketball team, by the way. That team, they should be in the top 10 right now. I got a hunch. Well, it's the best basketball team they've ever had. Ever. That's saying a lot, Danny Ainge. They play up here at Weber on the 18th of December. So, this needs to be a wake-up call to everyone in Utah, that we're going to chase our dreams of money, 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 money. Okay, have at, you know, a billionaire ITer who's an ex-BYU professor, his son, buys the Jazz, you know. He was a unicorn. There's a bunch of them, one in a million, and to hell with everybody else. He fought cancer the same time I did. I had a vicious, deadly cancer. He had a vicious, very similar diseases, by the way. His really radical sarcoma, myeloma. He was a billionaire. I was a zeroer. I forked over every dime I had to get into LDS East 8. My doctor, he's retiring this month, the man who saved my life, Vincent Hansen. It was a hard battle. He says that I'm the first person in the world, Fimbo Peterson says I'm the first person probably in the world that has survived OS de Novo, the type I have, which is a real radical one, with a marker over 23. My marker was 44. Willingly without a bone marrow transplant. I made the 10-year mark. It's a hell of a fight. Comfortability is not the zenith of life. This should be a wake-up call. You know, they said they're going to donate to St. Jude's. Do you know St. Jude's? And this is coming right from I have a little step-granddaughter who is fighting ALL. She's bald-headed. She's the cutest little thing. This is her line. I'll use her line. She's the greatest. We love her. And, of course, my nephew, just 3 doors down, is fighting neuroblastoma primary. They're both doing good. They're both alive. What's the matter, you scaredy pants? She'll say. I'm not. That's our line in the cancer thing. She tells the people, "What's the matter, you scaredy pants? You can't be afraid in this fight." And of course, we all are. Who's not afraid of the C word? I mean, it's frightening. But these kids, they're fearless, aren't they? She's fearless. I mean, it's amazing to me. I was pretty fearless in there. I got to tell you, I look back on it. I was like, pretty intent. You think? There should be a wake-up call, especially to the Utah Jazz. By the way, I'm going to send this to the owner of the Utah Jazz because I'm sure he knew him. I have, you name it, I have it, Utah Jazz. I want to donate it. But, because they're billionaires. I'm a zeroer. I used to tell people in the hospital the other day, I had a little scare, and I was like, well, God, what a journey yours has been. Diane tells me, one of my other doctors, God, I can't believe the amount of body of work that you've got done in 10 years. She says, you got your reward, didn't you? Yeah. My life, I says, all I ever wanted was a new car. That's all I ever wanted was a good car. I never got one. I got an old beat up piece of shit, but I'm cool. Humbling? Oh, it's the understatement of the world. Fight back. Fight back. But you need to fight back against who gave you cancer. The Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate gave you cancer. The Bayer Monsanto Radio Roundup Earth Poisoners. I grew up Mormon. I'm 7th grade generation Mormon here. Our generation, we fought back. We didn't let the nuclear monsters in here. So I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and boy, do we. This generation, his generation, which is a strong generation, I call him the post-ignorance generation. He's right on the cutting edge. They're caught up in this chasing money. I'm going to be the next one in a million. I'm going to be, where's your crown? Where's your crown? From hard hats to crowns. We were a working class generation. That's not their fault. I mean, they gutted us. First, they come for the craftsmen. I really was heartbreaking to see this because I thought he had it beat. A couple times. He fought the same time I did. He got cancer post-Fukushima, like so many of us. But that's just a coincidence. Just like the Great Salt Lake and Utah Lake going dry post-2011. All of this coincidence. The heat bubble. It's the ecology. There should be a wake-up call to you in Happy Valley. You could chase money and say, and sit and worship. He's a unicorn. He's a unicorn. Oh, the Jazz, he's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. What about the rest? And I've called it for years, Fukushima, the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your economic. Well, it does care. I'm in the 1% study, so you know. And this is important because he says donate to St. Jude's. It was my little granddaughter who told me, the step-granddaughter. She's 5. She says, her mom says, the doctor said they use fake models at St. Jude's. I said, really? All these beautiful children, these beautiful people with their heads side, and they're using, yeah. Be careful where you donate your money. I'll tell you a good cause, and I want to start it. I'm going to start it. At the LDS East State Bone Marrow Transplant Center. I'm going to start it in Marshall Jensen's name and Carla Hennessy's and my name. If I ever come into a big chunk of money. Someday we gotta hold on. Because it's all we got. When you live for the fight, when that's all you got. Ooh, I'm halfway there. I won't be poor forever. And I'm rich. I'm very rich, and I was a Wall Street guy. I taught finance at Weber State. I taught the derivative hedge fund thing. I mean, I had a lot of money, did a lot of things. I was I used to take companies public, I learned a long time ago. It's not money. In fact, it's the opposite. The struggle, the fight. The zenith of life is not comfortability, is not wealth that everybody's striving for. It's a fallacy. The zenith of life is the struggle, is the fight. I think about the accomplishments that I've been able to get and have, and things I've been able to see. Somebody says, get your selfie stick, do this, do that, do everything. Why? I'll just do it all while you sit back in your comfortability. Comfortability is a death sentence. It's a suicide rap. It's a death trap born in the nuclear freaking fairy tale USA. This is a heartbreaking story. I followed along. I paid attention to his case. Like I said, people that I knew, and, one of my doctors was one of Steve Jobs' doctors. That letter that's out, that the vlogger, she originally sent it to me, and I looked at it when Steve Jobs wrote that letter. Steve Jobs had passed away, right? Fukushima. Fought pancreatic cancer for a long time. I met Steve Jobs here at Weber State University. Remember the mouse he tried clear back then, before Bill Gates stole Novell and We're Perfect from Silicon Slabs Happy Valley. He stole it from Triangle. He's going to nuke you now in Wyoming and Idaho. Oh, God. Take the company public, become a gazillionaire, and walk away and buy the Jazz. Okay. Going to rebrand Utah. Fukushima rebranded Utah. The open air tests in Utah. This is not commentary. This is important. So I lived in the LDSE State Bone Marrow Transplant Center let's get some coffee, for 5 years till Mike Lee kicked me out of Medicaid. Kev, I got to tell you, my dad is a downwinder. You're not, Mike? To my face. This is not commentary. I don't do commentary. I place it in the research library, and for God and everybody to see it. Talk about a documentary.